Whoa. Hmm? Yeah. All right, so we're live. We're talking about Libra, the scam, the rug pull, which I've been researching, and I want to hear everybody's questions. There's a whole lot of FUD out there directed towards Solana, Meteora, Jupiter, and I just want to hear all the questions. And we're going to go through this for maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and we'll work out what's going on. So I'm in a different setup, so apologies for a different camera and whatnot, but let's have a look. So I think we all know that Libra is a token that was launched by a group, and it was linked to the president of Argentina. It ran up to a very sizable market cap of like something a bit too silly, 4.5 billion, and it crashed on down very, very quickly. Liquidity was pulled, and as liquidity was pulled, this rug chart, which is very, very common, this essentially meant that people were, selling, and then president deleted the tweet. So we can go and find the tweet or maybe screenshots of the tweet. We haven't done a huge amount of organization here, but I have been watching CoffeeZilla's chat with Hayden Davis. Now, then recently they put out something saying that they would go and inject their liquidity back into the chart, and the price went up significantly sometime on the 16th, I believe. Maybe, not sure when, but it went up 58%. Since kind of come on down because we're waiting on an idea of what basically went wrong. The other thing is KOLs have been flooded. Not that I'm a KOL, I'm an educator, I don't get any inside anything. Jakey has been targeted as well, and GG has been targeted. And yeah, now we have to keep in mind there's a few things. Obviously, to start off with, when these things come along, you can think there are once in a, there's a couple of these opportunities a year. Because of Trump's success, people thought, okay, look, I'm going to open a 2 billion market cap, 4 billion, because this could go much higher. And Trump, ultimately, this token was, went up to like $74 or something, maybe a little higher. It's down to like $20. Melania was also, these things are nasty in many respects because there's no marketing effort. So they're not using the money to better space. The money just kind of sits there. And when you're looking at a token like this, and if it's already at like 2 billion or 4 billion, you shouldn't be jumping in insanely at all, to be perfectly honest. I lost like less than $1,000 when I factored in, earning some fees and DLMMing and whatnot, which I think was a sizable amount of risk given that I got in so late. And I thought, okay, well, this could go higher. I woke up in the morning, it didn't, and I lost that. All right, let's go over this, and please ask any questions and they'll be pinged to me by my researchers, or I'll see them here as well. But one super relevant thing is the trenches are hard. The trenches are hard and there's no perfect solution. And I'll tell you, we can pull up examples of Alpha Vault launches where they go and with Meteora. This was a way to avoid snipers. And if you're not familiar with sniping on Solana or any blockchain, a token comes out, someone goes with a massive amount of size, really great settings, a whole lot of gas. They see it instantly. They do it faster than you can click a button. So the UI shows it after the blockchain shows it. And they get in and they buy up 20% of the supply, half the supply. Dupe's own token was sniped. All major launches on Solana with the known block time or date and time, approximately when it's going to come out, and approximately what the token is, they've always been sniped. And I can't remember one of the biggest snipers on Solana, but he made millions, he and his group. And now it's profitable. It's always going to be profitable. Last cycle, it was profitable with botters getting NFTs with Candy Machine. It was profitable with massive arbitrage attacks. It was profitable with Star Atlas's launch, where they spammed 300,000 transactions, or like 300,000 transactions per second to buy the allocation from Radium, which ended up being like $100 or $60 of worth of tokens turned into like $10,000 within 48 hours. It brought down Solana's blockchain. So wherever there's money to be made, this sort of stuff will happen. It's just, that's what it is. Now let's kind of go over what CoffeeZilla has said. I'm not sure if we can hear this audio. Maybe we can. And I don't have any segmented times, and I do think it's worth listening to because of the fact that people go and take a clip. They take clips on anything, political thing, their opposing leader does something silly, Elon Musk does something silly. If you clip anything out of context, it is bad. And I've already seen some clips out there saying this is all you need to know. But really, that an overview of how I'm looking at it with no knowledge of Hayden Davis or the team there, is they were trying something that was profitable for them. That's a given, but they were trying to basically stop it so the snipers would not destroy the whole thing, because the snipers are the ones that will win the most. Now, CoffeeZilla, I think, does ask some pretty good questions, but he's fundamentally has a viewpoint which we can't really agree with, in that stocks giving dividends, that's basically, there's your golden brilliant thing, and everything else is just rubbish. So, his example was, you use Coca-Cola, you buy $1 worth of stock, you get a dividend. Even if the stock goes down, you're probably going to break even, right? But it's Coca-Cola. It's horrendous. It's probably done more damage to human bodies than cocaine. Who knows? Exclude that from the record. Don't want to be sued by Coca-Cola. My point is, he's not the right person to go and give a different viewpoint when it comes to crypto, because he believes it's all basically net negative. So he's like, he has enough of an understanding, but he thinks it's all crap. So why would his viewpoint be worthwhile when, like, his solution is just stocks, which will also have insiders, just with far better accounting practices. But one thing I say is, he asked lots of good questions. And shout out to Hayden Davis from Kelsala. I'm not sure how that's pronounced, who actually went ahead and did this massive podcast kind of, or call that ended up being recorded and put out. My only criticism to CoffeeZilla is, when he doesn't like something, his reactions are like this. I'll give you a bit of a non-animated factor. It's just like, if you're going to be a journalist, like, listen to another viewpoint. And if you don't agree with it, use your words, not this. That's the only thing. And maybe he's doing it for engagement, but I think that's really how he does it. He asked the questions that were right questions. And let's see if we can do like the very start. And then I'll take some questions. And then I want to hear everyone's FUD. And we'll see if we can look at it on chain. So this is the preface. This is the beginning part. The beginning part is, there's snipers out there that get in and they will just take profits aggressively, and they will destroy a chart. And there's no liquidities to keep that up. So if you snipe at if you get in at a low price, you will not. An insider will not. It needs to be unknown completely, with no hype, and then you're destroyed. There'll be some leak somewhere. Someone will pay someone something. They will also have deals with the validators. Validator.com does not partake in any of this, but we've been offered $1 million or more a month to do MEV sandwiching, which is so net negative on the ecosystem. We of course said no. Try to investigate to see who were doing it, and Marinade has validators that do it, so that get Marinade stake and then they do it. So it's pretty disastrous out there. But let's take a couple of questions, and then I'll go through my whole spiel. I think, okay, and there's no audio from the YouTube video and stream, so sorry about that. So I guess question on YouTube. So in essence, I'm wondering what we should think about Meteora being responsible for onboarding the single party that has been responsible for recent hyped down-only launches. Shouldn't they have been aware? So I guess my message for Ben Chow would be, and I'm not as big as Ben Chow or anything, but I've been in the space as long, and I've offered to help him many times, and I have brought a lot of value to Jupiter and Meteora. Is just jump on a call and let's see if we can just make some decent video tutorials, a whole onboarding section, so that they don't really need Meteora's help, because the team needs Meteora's help, and these hype things, they need to get some help from Meteora and these market makers to make it work. But then that means that Meteora's kind of has a FUD angle, because they know of these things. They could share the contract launches. I don't think they would, but they could. The reason why I say I don't think they would is because one of their Meteora moderators went all in with 200 Sol, and he just lost 200 Sol, which was 97% of his bags. And you'd kind of feel that, if there was a bit of an inside trail, the core Meteora team would be like, oh, hey, this is happening. So I don't think there is insider stuff going on there. And I don't think Jupiter needs to do insider stuff there as well. It could certainly happen. I'm not going to say that it can't, but what we would need to do is be more of a traditional, innocent until proven guilty, as in someone find evidence, which of course, you could use good operational security and never find evidence, but you need to find evidence first. It's far more likely that the Jupiter token will have a market cap of 100 billion in 6-7 years. And if you go and destroy that now for $10 million worth of easy profits, when you make money on swaps and you want to be transparent, it doesn't make sense. It's just not logical. It's just not logical. It could happen, but it's not logical. So we've got a question here. Is M3 also impacted by the team's reputation? The reason why that question is relevant, we'll bring it up, is because M3 was launched by Kaiser, or however it's pronounced. And it's gone over here. So I believe it's gone over here, M3. So yeah, Hayden Davis, Kaiser Ventures, they, Ben asked Hayden and Kaiser Ventures if they would be interested in launching a token on the M3 platform in order to provide an initial case study on how it worked. And they deployed it and they bundled the transactions. We all know this. And if you don't know it, well, it's true. I didn't know it until after the fact. And M3 is a pretty cool idea. Let's have a look at the market cap, but it's essentially a bit of a failure for sure. So it's reached, crazy highs, but they bundled such a massive amount of the supply, and they were using it not to dump. They're actually using it to prop up the chart, but it means that it can't have organic price discovery. And what M3 is cool for is because it creates some on-chain social credit score. Or, do you dump? Are you a JITA? Then you won't be rewarded. So you take M3 and you stake it. So it's a novel idea. And I guess what these guys are trying to do is they're trying to make it so that people can win more in the space. Otherwise, they would have big soul bags that have big reputations to protect. And they're just trying to make it so that it works better, because the traditional system of ICOs back in 2017, that didn't work. They just went up and then crashed. Binance or Bybit listing a token, their insider allocations there is massive. You can have a look at Celestia, TIA is the ticker there. That token is horrendous in terms of having these insider VCs that get it. So there does need to be a solution. And your best bet is to ship in product. So in production. So you don't go and test ideas. You don't become like Cardano and you try for 5 years to theorize what could happen. You have to go and do something, let it break, and then go on. And then ideally people watch content like mine, which is low shill, saying, don't risk everything. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. That would be my biggest goal. So I think Meteora is going to be safe. They do need to improve the optics, and we do need to go and put together 20 tutorials that are decent, that go over everything. Otherwise, yes, Meteora will start to suffer. And the biggest thing that's hurting Meteora right now is not the damage to Ben's reputation or anything like that. It's the fact they've got this crazy, because that's not really relevant. It's more the fact that they've got this very strong community. The LP Army, the Goose DAO, Dead Army, these hundreds of active people, and then greater community, 10,000 plus greater, people that will go and support the liquidity, go and do it, try and generate fees, try and make it profitable. They are being wrecked on this, and that's where they will start to fade away if there's better opportunities on other blockchains. That we're not at that stage yet, but we're to the point where it does need a town hall where people can ask their questions. Let's have a look at all these questions here. But first, let's have a look. Hey, Seb, what do you think about this Libra scandal? You said it would have an impact on Solana, but do you think the impact is big enough to justify today's price movements versus? Okay, so let me see if I can bring up TradingView here. There's a video that we'll put out today, soon, which I did a stream, I did a podcast with Katoshi, and he taught me all these things, and we've covered all this sort of stuff in a video on Jupiter's exchange about how to trade, and it's very, very good. Now it looks as though this is the wrong chart, so let's have a look at this. I believe it's this one. Okay, so obviously this is on the 2 hour, and this is the time frame Katoshi uses. Until Bitcoin reverses, no altcoin goes up. That's your first lesson. If Bitcoin goes good, let's see if we can open this in another window. How do I do this? Sorry, I'm not the most skilled TradingView user. So if we have a look at Bitcoin, until this starts to go up, then it's not even really the right time to be doing altcoin things. It's the right time to DLMM a little bit, or LP or BNB or whatever, get in, take profits, move on to the next one. It's a good time to buy the dip, DLMM up. Do I think that Sol is going to go down further? No, but it's a smart idea to protect yourself in case it does. I don't have a wallet installed on this new laptop, but I'll show you what I mean. So all this means is basically when this goes green, you typically buy, especially if it goes up, and when it goes red, you sell. Here we can see approximately charts here went as high as 58%, but we could have closed it around here. We would have been up 42%, and we could have taken profits along the way. So it's a pretty decent indicator. Here you can see it goes red here, and it closes red here, down 13%. You could use it to short if you want to. Nothing with crazy leverage though, please. You can see at this point, opening a short here until here, you've made 15%. And you could have made more if you wanted, if you close it, whatever. Now we're in this cross market where it goes up a little bit, down a little bit, up, down. It's not volatile enough. And the only reason we make massive gains in crypto is because of the volatility. Here, since the beginning of Feb, it's the same deal. Katoshi said that this looks primed for it to explode to the upside. And I'm going to get to my point. So my point is, when we're, we need to get through this sell pressure, this kind of resistance level. So we need to break through, which isn't very much right now, I'll be honest. We need to ideally, Bitcoin needs to come up from here, and it needs to hold above 100, around about 100K, because there's all this resistance bar here. And then the alts will lift, and then things look far better. Now I'll show you what Sols looks like, because we can see with Bitcoin, this is not a crazy move. This is it needs to go up, 3.5%. It's the biggest market cap. It doesn't move the most. Sol, because we had this major dip down, we have all the strong support at this level. And then the support moved up slightly, and now we have the support here. We've kind of broken it, but at the same time, we have also, we've broken it, but we've come up above it. So we need to go higher. And I really don't think that we're going to go down, but we should be prepared to do so. So what we need to do is we need to come up about 15%, all the way to like $214 for it to be like, okay, we're kind of back on. On top of that, we've got like this March unlock, which we'll cover ideally tomorrow. So I'll show you ETH as well. So will Sol go down? Well, ETH is now making a big run for it, but it needs to go all the way up as well. It needs to do a similar amount, and from previously, it has a far bigger wall. And if you go and look at something like Bonk, for Bonk to win, it needs to move up like 50% per what Katoshi's taught me and his system before it even starts to be like, okay, this looks good. You could still scout for 10% or whatever, but for it to be like, okay, this is fun, let's get amongst it, we're miles away. So the question is just very, very simple. Will Sol be okay? Yes, but you should protect yourself on Camino or whatever for the possibility of Sol going down to like 160 or whatever. I also would suggest going to Meteora and opening a bid as it goes down lower and lower. If it goes down lower and lower, and if your USDC doesn't get used to bid lower and lower, then you're going to be fine. But we'll cover that towards the end. So ETH is going to outperform now at this stage, Sol versus ETH, unless they fail to market, because people still can't really use Ethereum, right? And the layer 2 is just too many chains going on. It makes it hard. So let's go through some of these streams again, some of these questions. I know it sucks. It definitely sucks. You want transparency, but no one's built transparency, because the other thing is when like a bear market's on, crypto's boring. You can't stress test anything. You can't. Every time something goes wrong, you say things like, and I've said it before in the previous cycle, and I was wrong for saying it. We should have stress tested this. You should have stress tested a fake, a pretend DAA mint to see if it would cope well. So you can't just go and say, all right, let's get 5,000 people doing this, and then on mint day there's 250,000 people doing it. It's not a fair thing. You have to just stress test, unfortunately, in real life. And Web2 has the same problem. Every time there's a hype sneaker launch from Nike, their websites crash. They can't deal with it. But let's have a look. What does this DGen say? In essence, I'm wondering what we should think about Meteora being responsible for onboarding single party. Okay, I think we've mentioned before. Yeah, I think all Ben needs to do is he needs to make it permissionless, and then they still be on call for things. And I think he's pretty damn transparent. He's going to make a lot more money from Matt and from having a core community, because if anything leaks of wrongdoing, then reputation is everything. In Web3, it's done. Not sure if you want to hold M3 at the moment. Yeah, look, M3 is not that great. It's a cool system that they've built, but no one's really using it, and they haven't really worked out how like you're getting a score. It's kind of like supposed to be like a bit of a competitor to Solid ID, Solana ID. You can't win against the bots, and I decided best to stay away from trying to quick gains and memes. That's valid as well. Another thing is, it is probably better if you jump into a meme coin after the first like 30 minutes or an hour, and then look at where you see there's demand. If it's got a bit of hype, and deal MM it, you'll probably do better. I always try to stay away from the first 10 minutes of a token. And I didn't get into this until like it went up to 4.5 billion, then it came down to 2.2 billion, and then I started to bid ask. So I was only bidding. I had a little bit in spot, which didn't do well, but just bidding. I'll be honest, I'm pretty sad of us all right now, but also for Meteora, they only could do wrong on this when they don't handle all market participants the same. You need to support launch. Yeah, I'm not upset with them, to be honest. We can have a look and see what Ben said. there's always going to be some sort of insider ability where I don't really feel that Ben's going to be the type of person that would be like, yeah, I'll be insider. Of course, you know, an engineer could go and snipe it himself if he wanted to. And like, it's always going to happen. Your best bet is, how do you build something like an alpha vault that still has hype? And probably your best bet for the alpha vault, let's see if we can see like an example one. Chris, if you can see one, sorry. Chris, if you can see one, an old alpha vault play, please ping it to me. So yeah, I've been putting my chin here, which has been not working well with the microphone. I apologize. I'm traveling here. So what was it like? What was a failed alpha vault? Bonk Live uses alpha vault, and sometimes this does well. As an example with Sonic, which I didn't get into. But normally it takes away the hype. So it did well initially, and then it just crashes. And this is, it's so true to say that everybody wants to work on their product and produce revenue. But in crypto, the most important thing is your token price going up. If you cannot achieve that, then maybe not in your eyes, you're not a failure, but realistically, you have failed, because that's what your investors, which are degens, expect, which is why dupe buyback exists, which is why Solana staking exists. Not quite like that with Solana staking, it's securing the network, but in general. And whenever we get into a token, if it doesn't outperform Bitcoin, then it's not really a worthy hold. You can't hold your bags, which is why like your whole core thesis should be to support the token price going up. And teams that say, oh, I don't care about my token, that's not a worthwhile thing. Cloud used an alpha vault, and did okay initially. I'm bullish on Cloud and the team. Let's see if we can. It kind of had sell pressure because they had a lot of cool. So they came up and they came on down, then they came up again, up quite well, and then they came on down. There's been UPT, Uprock. They looks like the dev has been buying, trying to sustain their price, but they have not done well. If snipers get in as well, I think they did an alpha vault. It did not do well. So the alpha vaults, they don't work, but they work at protecting people from bots. They stop sniper bots. But what Uprock did when they found out they did the alpha vault, which was what Meteor created to try and avoid this, that the chart doesn't go like this. So degens don't FOMO in. So there are no fees made. So no tokens are then sold. So then the chart can't necessarily reach organic price discovery. What I think needs to happen is an alpha, like a challenge needs to be set. And I wonder if we could just do this as like a test token, not from me, but like where all the token is put into the alpha vault and everyone can jump in for, and it has to be a worthwhile project. Everyone can jump in. The alpha vault goes for 12 hours. 12 hours. And then you auto get your tokens. So there's a contract which Meteor sends the tokens. You don't have to claim them. You auto get a USDC refund. If you wanted to raise 20 million, and then the liquidity, the vast majority is just locked. It's locked, it stays there. And there's another smart contract which is used to put the tokens back into the DLMM. The issue is the contract can't be locked. It needs to be moved to a dynamic pool. So there's a few things to keep in mind, but something like that could potentially work as opposed to someone coming along and just spotting it, which is what's happening. CoffeeZilla is like, I guess, I have quite a bit of passion for Meteor. So, I'm always going to protect what I think is far more valuable. But the guy just goes like this, guns blazing, every time. And you can just, he's good at what he does. He's got a far bigger audience than I have. But I really hate the snarky nature. We've gone through this, and all right, let's go over Dave Portnoy's kind of what happened here. Hayden said to Dave, and this is all recorded, he said, hey, I'm going to send you, 6.5 million tokens. And Dave's like, cool, I'll do this tweet. Is this all good? And the tweet said, bullish on what these guys are doing. I've been sent some tokens, but I've also gone and bought some more. And then Hayden said, no, you can't say that you have been sending tokens. So this is the underhanded, the lack of transparency here, which is, this would happen like 100 times worse. I've worked for KOLs, like no doubt about it. The insider games, that's why I stay away from it. It's the only way to maintain trust. It's kind of boring just to tell people to stake their soul and to learn to not ape too much and to do DeFi. But that will make you more gains than being just shat on, constantly just shat on by KOLs. So he returns these tokens, as we know, and then he said, I returned them. He bought some tokens with his own money, and then after he returned the tokens, he returned the tokens, he bought some, he lost money, and then Hayden used a wallet that was linked to Melania to reimburse them, and this all kind of imploded. Let's go back to some questions. Okay, we've covered that one. I don't know what this is, but I just want to talk about this Meteora, dupe, and Libra stuff today. What is the indicator I'm using? So there's a full video on it on Jupiter Exchange's YouTube, and it's very worthwhile. But there's 3 here in particular. There's Hull Suite with special settings, Bullseye Borders, and MA, the moving average ribbon. Okay. Don't have a good answer for you on this one, but Katoshi could. It's just that I've been following closely Sol since 2 weeks. It was quite well correlated to macro news and stock exchange movements, especially Nasdaq. And now since its correlations have been broken, I'm trying to find the rationale behind. Well, I definitely think the correlation would be sentiment. I'm going to go and log in to Cato, which takes me a minute, and we can have a look at the new bad kind of the sentiment. Is the sentiment bad? We'll have a look. I need to send something to my email to get a whatnot, but this will give us a good idea of what's happening right now live on crypto Twitter, because crypto Twitter is the vast majority of like all the news for crypto, right? Okay, we're in. Let's have a look. I really don't think that Sol's going to be affected too much. This is one thing. So we'll come over here. Obviously, it's going to probably be the narrative mindshare. But first, I like the narrative mindshare because meme coins are losing power, which is good. AI is still right at the top there. DeFi is what I'm good at, and that's where I'll help people the most. And real world assets and maybe GameFi. So these 1, 2, 3, I'm going to be better at. Now, let's have a look at the token mindshare to see what has been happening with Solana. Have people been talking about it? So Cato, because they're going to do like a token generation event. People talking about Solana intensely, and ETH as well. I mean, you could say they're talking about Solana in a negative light. So, people could short it based on that. But at least it's been talked about. Your biggest thing is, if people stop talking about your project or your token, then that's apathy, and then it goes to 0. If people are talking it right now, it is relevant. And we can tell this because let's have a look and see, like, look at all these tokens, right? Melania's probably not doing very well, but maybe it's doing great. They're still being talked about. People still care enough. If we go have a look at XRP, it's number 23. If we go have a look at Cardano, it's number 41. If we look at Dupe, I hope you can see that, it's 31. If we look at something like Uplink, it's 92. If we look at Tron, it's 77. It's kind of, I feel it's like Google search, where the top 10 results, you got to be in the top 5 in order to have any kind of effect on things. No one's clicking page 2 of the search results. So we're still doing fine, but there is certainly a little bit of FUD there, of course. All right, so now this is what Pick says. Here is every crime Hayden Davis openly confessed to. Inside trading. There is no inside trading with unregulated tokens. That is not, as far as I'm aware, not the case. Market manipulation. Use insider access to snipe their own project, control liquidity, and influence price action. Pretty sure it's not illegal here as well. This would be done all the time. But yes, you could say it's market manipulation, but you do need to market manipulate because you're beating out the bots. A stock buyback is also a form of market manipulation. They take profits, they buy back their stock, right? But it's allowed. Misappropriation of funds, holding 100 million of investor money with no clear plan. Look, valid. What he said in his video, in his chat with CoffeeZilla, was, people are telling me they're going to kill me and my family. And the guy's well-spoken. He's a very intelligent person from what I could gather. He's like, this is my leverage, to foresee that this doesn't happen, right? Because the president withdrew support after giving support. It was something to help Argentina. And I would say you probably couldn't, I don't know how much they sniped, but you can't snipe too aggressively. You can't go and snipe it up to like a 4.5 billion. You can't go and do it with like 20% of the liquidity when there's 70% somewhere else there. Whatever. But yeah, you can have a look. If Libra is classified as a securities fraud, if funds were moved for interstate anti-money laundering, this isn't. Look, if he's going to go to prison for this, or even go into like a court and be treated unfairly, then that would be worse for crypto, in my belief, because people will then be too scared to do anything. This is a system where they were going to profit for sure, but they were trying to beat out the other snipers to then take some of the profits for sure, but try and keep that chart looking good. That's my understanding. Let's go back to these questions I keep on avoiding. Okay. So, I mean, this is a little bit, you asked this a little while ago, but if you've been watching now, Trip Scorpio, then you can see on Cato that NFTs do not have mindshare. Well, sorry, they do have mindshare, but they do not have enough mindshare in terms of narratives, right? The narratives, there's no one talking about NFTs. In the top NFT mindshare, these are the top ones. Cato Genesis is probably going to be the top one, yeah. And then Doodle with their dudes. I don't think NFTs are going to come back strong yet. What do I think about Pingu? So that's a different kind of topic, but the price has gone down hard. I think they need to add DeFi to the abstract chain, and then it will start to come back. But I still hold on more mine. I'm down a little bit. That's okay. I don't know who TTC is. You can put me in touch with them, by means. Pumpkin is having the public beta in a few hours. Do you think it will change the meme industry if launched successfully? So Pumpkin.fun, they kind of launched their token too early without the tech being done. It got fudded. They also sniped their own token. And they did it in a poor way, where a dev did it. And I don't have any upside in this. I lost a little bit of money DLMMing it. They did it in a poor way because what happened is they used that video, a tutorial, that address in a tutorial. So they made it a mistake, but they made $1 million. However, the thesis with this is good. And yes, I think a creator fund would be a good idea for meme coins. And I also think the Alpha Vault system that I spoke about, where people have 12 hours to enter, would be worthwhile as well. for long-term, for, you know, looking long-term, but it won't create the same hype that just a crazy chart will do, because people far more, like new people are far more inclined to go and buy the top of a chart than to DCA in. Alpha vaults suck. Alpha vaults, a great idea, but they did suck because they reduced that FOMO. They do need to change that. Well, okay, I'm not sure there. When you have impermanent loss, do you wait for recovery? It depends on the token. So if you have impermanent loss on this Libra, no, you're probably, like, you're just going to have to exit most likely, right? What you can do though is you could, you know, if you're down bad, or if you have impermanent loss, you could come on down to another range, deploy it, and just try and make it back in fees, which I do sometimes because I'm bullish on the fees. But don't want to talk too much about this. We'll run through these questions here. Nothing needs to happen. Hayden snipes. Well, Hayden says he'll put $100 million back into the ecosystem, into the chart, to prop it up to like 2 billion potentially, and it can start to gain its own legs. If he does that, people will sell. But if the president kind of takes over, it will start to gain success. It takes over as in, if he tweets support for it, if he keeps support there and doesn't just flip-flop, then it will have success. The biggest thing is these people are not familiar with crypto. It was a messy launch. Hayden has said in this chat with CoffeeZilla that he was assisting here. Like, he's assisting here. He's deploying things. Like, he can't, like, if the president goes and does what this, you know, takes away support, or if other people that said they'll help, like, he still made mistakes, big mistakes, of course, but he's been just used as a scapegoat for sure. And his transparency on the matter is pretty damn decent, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, they need to do something with the token. CoffeeZilla ended up saying, let's go ahead and, you know, hire an analytics firm, work out what everyone's P&L was by buying the token, you know, take a snapshot. So in the first, I don't know, 15 hours or whatever, and reimburse based on a percentage, you know, with a higher limit being like maybe a recoup of $50,000. But that would take weeks. There would be mistakes. People would need to open tickets. They would feel hurt still. I think the best thing is just to inject stuff into the chart. And the reason why he put this big chat out, he put this video out, as he said, look, I'm being transparent. If I've got to do this in 48 hours, start to deploy it, bid it into the chart, which means you can, you know, take some profits. You can buy now and sell later, potentially. It could work out worthwhile to have some sort of DLMM that's going, but too much risk because it could pivot. You know, like, it could definitely pivot. But he put this out so that smart people can come forward and say, here's a better solution. That's what was requested. Let's run through these questions. Dave Portnoy is not good for the crypto space. Hate that guy. Dave Portnoy is good because he doesn't know anything, but he has access. He can learn stuff quickly. So he's actually good because that's your common investor. He just has more money. And he has an audience. He did the same thing with stocks in the last cycle, you know, buying GME and Best Buy and all these random kind of stocks that just went crazy with people just buying it that were being shorted. Do I think Jupiter has any involvement? It will affect price action. Okay, so this is where I'm going to talk about like a potential strategy. We know that dupe buybacks happen today. We can see that on this calendar, which is normally linked in each video, that the Jupiter starting buybacks. We can see that the dupe price suffered because of the FUD, and they'll probably bring this up at the dupe rally. We can have a look on like the 1 minute chart, look at the actual price. Not necessarily 1 minute, sorry, like 5 minute. Dupe does correspond largely to Sol, but it also has like significant active staking rewards, which is why it hasn't reached price discovery. So from kind of the start of the FUD or whatever, it's down 13%. So with either USDC, if you don't want to hold Sol right now, or with Sol, if you like Sol, like I like Sol, you could go with Jupe and Sol into something that would allow you decent price discovery. It's not going to earn a whole lot in fees, but like 50 bins. I don't have a wallet to connect here, sadly, but let's say you're like, okay, I'm going to take a bet that they're going to do well. Go buy 1,000 Jupe. You're not going to put in any Sol unless you want to, and you go on and you set it like this, and set like 30%, 20%. The price can move up here, and you'll generate fees. And this is like longing a token that you're bullish on, and you could potentially get more tokens. You know, you could get more fees, which you can put into Jupe. You can go and stake that Jupe if you want. But this is what I am personally going to do. It's not financial advice, but I do think Jupe is oversold. Another option you can do, if you're like, well, you know what, maybe this FUD will continue a little bit longer. You can go and put in like whatever you want into a bid-ask system in case the price goes lower. You can do it in Sol and Jupe, or you can do it in USDC and Jupe. And then as it goes down, you can withdraw it and then go and set up that other system like I just showed you, but I'll just show you again. And you can sell it at a higher price, where it goes like this, all the way up to whatever it is you want to. That could be a good option. But I don't think Jupe has any involvement in it, to be perfectly honest. Like, we literally have people coming out saying, I don't think I showed you in this video. We literally have people coming out and saying that we sniped it and we did really well. Peppermint's NFT. I'm not saying go and buy one of these. I've never heard them before. But they've made over $200 million in profits, over $1 billion in transaction value. They are good at sniping stuff. This is their biggest cook in history, making 70 million plus on Libra. One of these NFTs costs 100 Sol, so $18.5 thousand. And then who knows what happens. And I don't think, like, if you go and buy one of these NFTs now, I don't know what it gives you as access, so I'm not suggesting you do it. Excuse me. But what's going to happen is all these, like within 2 weeks, there'll be a better solution so that people can not be sniped, because they do get bundled. So there's your option. Why am I covering for Hayden? Look, CoffeeZilla can say whatever he likes. Like, Hayden clearly has to answer to some things. He just got caught doing what people do worse, and he was trying to do it in a way that, once again, where he was making money and his company was making money, but also where they could try and support the charts. Lambo this cycle, who knows? Who knows? It's a harder cycle. I'm discussing they are all involved, Dupe, Meteor, etc. Look, they could be. I just don't think that's a strong possibility. Like, these sort of things, Meow and people in the Dupe team, they're kind of quite transparent. If they were, they would have sent something one time to a group, someone would have screenshotted it, and they would have leaked it. Like, that kind of would have happened, most likely. And if I'm in denial, all I think is a worthy request is to be shown some evidence. And that's why these videos are better than watching a clip. If I live stream this and you tell me why I'm in denial, like, show me something. I'm already clearly happy to say that I agree with Hayden when he said in this video, once again, he said, everyone that's making fees off it for these big rugs, they should take all those fees, distribute them to people that have lost, right? Probably a good idea. No one's going to say that you, like, it's hard to do, but that could be a potential thing. Dupe could take all their fees, Moonshot could take all their fees, Meteor could take all their fees and try and redistribute them. But there's no easy way to redistribute them. I think the best thing is that, you know, Dupe and Meteor, they just work on proper educational content, and people learn to manage risk far better. And we just realized that this is a Wild West. And if Hayden doesn't do it, if Hayden's locked away tomorrow and we never see him or the 100 million again, this will still happen in tokens. And it still has, we can see from Cato, it still has a dominant, not the dominant, but a dominant amount of market share. This is what people are talking about. Token market share. Solana is up there. It is second. So we know that people are talking about that. We know we get a lot more daily mentions. And the narrative, memes are still here. The AI boom has been even worse. If you want to go and look at a chart, like we can go have a look at Peanut. If let's see if we can just have a look at Peanut here. If you want to go and get into Peanut right now, to get into some sort of price discovery, the token needs to go up like 160% before it looks like it's going to be okay. It could still reverse, but like it's hard. That's a meme coin. Sorry. If we have a look at GOAT, the first kind of AI token, GOAT, Goatius Maximus. Like people just forgetting that this space is brutal, and that when you make profits, you put it back into Sol and you stake it, or you put into Bitcoin. It's boring, but it works. Otherwise, you're down bad. I've listened in on a Meteor Discord meeting early to mid 2024. It's about being as extractive as possible in the first hours of launch. For those that want to profit on fees, fees are just normal. If you want, like, you need to get in there early when there's the most amount of volume, and volume could pick up, you know, a week later or whatever. But you also have the most to lose. You can look at Prosper's Twitter and you'll see that. And yeah, Hayden was part of the Melania launch in terms of, he's not a dev, but in terms of like coordinating these sort of things. Cool. All right. I don't even understand why people are so offended. Everyone knows what the meme coin casino is. Nothing new here. Put your money into real. So look, yeah, I think the biggest issue here is actually not necessarily, I think the biggest issue is that the president withdrew support, and so it looked decent, and then it was withdrawn. It's a bit crazy. Look, like you probably don't want to snipe, because it is a FUD vector, and when they snipe, they tend to dump on. So it's not the same as a team allocation. Team allocation normally has vesting. They could earn money on the fees. They could take profits on the fees. But you'd want to have some sort of locked liquidity, ideally. I'm not aware enough. No, I just have a different viewpoint to you, and you haven't stated why you have your viewpoint, and I'm here doing so. So, yeah. Thanks, mate. Listen to yourselves. Denial. Okay. All right, I'm going to stop answering you. We're going to end this in a few minutes. Is it still worth farming MET? Hell fucking yeah. Yes, it is still worth farming MET. Meteor is fantastic tech. Solana is the blockchain which people want to use. This problem, like in a week's time, people won't even be talking about this. There'll be some other big thing. And all this temporary FUD for people that went and bought the Sol dip, or did that bid system to buy Sol lower or dupe lower, they'll be happy. And those that don't, fine. Yeah. Okay, what do you think about Tolly's comment about a social credit score? I can send the whole reply. I didn't see that comment. Let's have a quick little look, but I do want to wrap this up. I think a social credit score is a very good idea. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. A social credit score is like someone looks at your wallet and they can see, you know, do you hold, do you LP, do you support things, do you buy more, or do you just cheat continually? In which case, if you're a cheater and you extract so much value, then that wallet should not qualify for airdrops. There should be a third-party tool, which is open source, And people can go, all right, do I want to airdrop this or do we want to exclude people? And yes, we want to exclude those people. I think it's a very good idea. What do you think? Is Meteor's fault to not look after big token launches to lock some liquidity? I think so. There's so much customization, but I do think they need to, as I mentioned before, educate better that if you remove liquidity, it's quite dangerous for FUD because they had 400 million, then they removed 100 or 200. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if the snipers are still in, the snipers can snipe it down and take all that liquidity. So you do want to take some off so that you can redeploy it later. Your best bet is to stop snipers, but still keep FOMO, which is no one's worked out yet. Okay, so I think the point of discussion should be that Ben basically admitted inviting K to launch tokens back to back. I don't get this still. Don't we have sufficient OG projects or native launches? That's very valid. That's exceptionally valid. I don't think enough people know how to do it, but I'm going to bet on MetaProfit and MetaDAO in particular to find something. So they've said, hey, this is perfect. Your goal as a project founder is your token to go up. If you have a different goal, you've got the wrong goal, 100%. Pump built the anti-rug meme coin launchpad. MetaDAO project is building the anti-rug ICO launchpad. So meme coins are just, they mostly go to zero. There's only a few that will make it. You're better off getting Bonk and Pengu and Sheeb and Doge than these other ones that are like lottery tickets. They are lottery tickets. We need more projects to come back, and I'll be very keen to see what these guys are building. And if they use Meteor Tech, cool. If they don't use Meteor Tech, fine. The thing is, with using Radium and Pump.Fun, the locked liquidity is locked, perfect. But all the fees it generates, you cannot claim. No one can claim. Whereas with Meteor, you can claim the fees. You can redistribute to M3 stakers. You could use it to continue to buy up, buy the token off. You could buy the token up, sell the token. All that sort of stuff is possible. I think it could be a good point to pivot to shake all degens that are gambling communities invest in long-term projects, but any time will tell. Look, I still think DeFi farming's the most fun because you can see the gains, you can learn things, you go for things that are a little bit more worthwhile. And that's why I'm kind of pivoting there, although I've always spoken about that more so. And we need to go where the liquidity goes as well. As much as we love Solana, BNB's getting liquidity. We've got a player over there, but just probably not on these crazy meme coins because they are extractive. Thank you. At least that is what really worries and confuses me. But I will listen and learn what the market thinks. This is in relation to this. Yeah, I get that. I think Meteor will do fine. I have my own viewpoints. I'm direct with my viewpoints. I believe content is very, very important, and not just hype content, just tutorials. They make it so that someone else can learn how to do something. You see tutorials on how to do so many things. In crypto, people are more like, tell me what to buy. I want to buy it, and then I want to sell it. And if it doesn't go up, I want to be mad at you. I just wanted a tutorial. I want to make a tutorial so you can see how it's done. And then we need to go through so many things. Like we need to look at, is it botted? Is it bundled? What's the organic score like? And I've given this feedback to Jupiter team because it's continually evolving. If you think there's money to be made, so if you think that you can just put something out and then it works, it doesn't. An organic score doesn't show the early botters. So if we have like a top traded in the last 5 minutes, 56, 70. We have to go somewhere else to see if this was bundled. And by bundled, we have to go and take this token, put into a Discord bot app, and it'll tell you how many wallets got in. Or we can take it, we can take it and we can jump in here and we can see its chance of failure. The dev has not sold. It says it's safe. The Twitter has been renamed 24 times, so it's a serial rugger. And there are snipers that are still in, still holding. And there's always going to be snipers. These snipers is first people jumping in. So yeah, I don't even know what Kira is. It's a lot to keep on improving. Do you think the Met TGE will be delayed after all this fiasco? No, I don't think the Met TGE will happen until like it's ready. I don't think this is going to affect it. I think this is putting a drop. It's delaying. It's making things a little difficult for 1 week, and then we're fine. I appreciate that. Seb, you're a Sol Maxi. Why should I be loading up on that rather than Sui? Oh, I'm not a Sol Maxi, my friend. I'm a yield Maxi. Just Solana has the most number of new users. All the new meme coins are coming over here, right? Trump, Melania, Pingu, Dude, D-O-O, from Doodles. They're choosing Solana because this is where the party's at. And on top of that, you stake your soul, which, stake your soul with validator.com. Staking your soul, it gives you like over 11%. If you go on Sui, which I would love to operate a validator over there, and I still need to finish those tutorials when I'm back home. The issue is, it's like, a staking rate of less than 2%. But it's still worthwhile. But it's a younger blockchain. They haven't gone through creating this core community. People haven't gone through things so difficult, as difficult. I think BNB is going to get more attention than Sui, but Sui is still a worthwhile thing. I don't think Cardano is going to do very well. I don't think ETH Layer 1 is going to do well in terms of new projects. ETH Layer 2s do okay. But if you want to load up on ETH, well, if you've been descending into Sol over the last year or descending into ETH over the last year, you're down significantly on ETH, but you're up on Sol. How am I feeling about the Pingu? Absolute bottom. Well, so I can't really use this chart for this kind of stuff because it's a very new token, but we can have a look. I think that Luca Nets has like a chip on his shoulder in a good way, as in, like, you don't want to back me, just let me cook. And I think he'll pivot if he needs to pivot. I think he wants to work far more on the IP of stuff, and I'm far more interested in the DeFi stuff. Yeah, in hindsight, I definitely have bought into Murad Mehmedov's thesis, which has been failing of late. And also, in hindsight, I bought into Luca's thesis, which has not worked in the short term. And it needs to go up sizably, 147%, for it to be like a well-respected, okay, let's get amongst it. Having said all that, it's been going lower and lower, been finding this support band, and it's not been doing very well. But I don't think, I think it's pretty close to the bottom. It's just abstract's not relevant. But he'll make it relevant. Like, the guy only wants success. He's like Meow. Boot camp, what day? It's Monday. No, boot camp was yesterday and the day before. No, I don't think going to Met Discord will get you an airdrop. I think there will probably be some sort of, if you create threads or do cool content, there could be something that would reward like a good cat vibe with Jupiter. But mostly you should be focused on not the airdrop per se, you should be focused on how do I actually make money DLMMing? Because if you can't do that, then it's not the right game for you. You're never going to want to hold your airdrop or sell your airdrop or whatever. Like, you want to make gains through DLMMing, and you want to get good at that, and you don't want to go in with crazy risk. I've seen some people, like, I feel you have to lose like 20 times to start to kind of get things, and you can watch Token Guy's live streams on it, but you never go full ape. So Rosha, did I get this name wrong again? I did. 1 second. Let me get the spelling of his name. Gosha. Sorry. Gosha is a mod for, he's an LP Army mod and instructor, and he made a big mess up. I don't know. Okay, so he's financially secure, but he put in 97% of his net worth, 200 Sol, into this token, and then didn't do well. I think he deleted it. But I guess my point is here is, even if you know how to do this, you don't just go and ape everything. Yes, it works out sometimes and you're like super happy, but if it doesn't, then you just risk 97% of your portfolio. You can't do it like that. So that's what you need to learn from taking. Maybe it's $20 depending on your portfolio. Maybe it's $50. Maybe it's $100. 20 different times. You win some, you lose some. Try and make 10% and then call it quits. Try and make 5% and call it quits. Well, look, a couple of opportunities at the end, potentially. We may all come back to Bonk and all the good meme coins. We can, but we can't turn $100 into $10,000 with Bonk anymore. So that's where it's going to be a little bit difficult. Here, actually, I'm going to show you this. This is from Gosha. So this I think this sums it up. I mean, he lost a whole lot of money. He DGN'd too hard, and he believes he understands what the problem with crypto and Solana in general is. Famous people in crypto are disappointingly dumb, lazy, not educated, and generally lack the critical thinking skills. This is not about DGN buying scams. Absolutely not about them. This is about influencers and X. Actually, people who are supposedly outstanding in the crypto community. You are not evil. You're just naively dumb or lazy to read and get into details. This explains a lot. This explains why we can't catch scammers. Influencers are too dumb to understand how to do this. I was rugged on LIBRA harder than everything in 4 years. Not really relevant. Look, yeah, just people in the world are dumb. And I think it should be everyone's top priority to get smarter. You need to outperform the 100 people in the room in order to make it in crypto. What does it say? I can't bear to buy memes. I'm close to 40 and kind of resent meme coins. Yeah, meme coins, they bring in more people. They did the same thing in 2021. That's why BNB chain got so much activity. The Safe Moons and the Flockies and all these kind of things. But yeah, now you can create 30,000 a day. It's very, very hard, but you don't have to jump in. And you should be like, you should rotate. Like this idea of holding on for dear life, it's not going to happen. In an ideal world, you want a token that has revenue. So Meteor has revenue when they do a token. I'll be keen on that. Jupiter has very decent revenue. Jupe buybacks, I'm keen on that. His interview on Bankless was awesome. I don't know whose interview. I am in Europe these days, but yeah, Queensland was where I've spent most of my life. Pingu strategy is getting Discord Pingu enjoyable role and racking up experience for the ABS airdrop. Okay, well, I need to start covering this sort of stuff. Sawtooth reversal strategy, mate. Would love to see you do a video on this. I think I need to get home, back to my office, and I can start to do these sort of things. Anyone in the Meteor community, I've pinged out all the mods for help. Not getting any help back in terms of making this content. They're either too busy, probably with making their own gains. But anyone that wants to help, that's good stuff, let me know. Or just ping me like good threads and I'll understand it and I'll make it into a video. Everything is such a shame. Malai's image got wrecked and I'm kind of sure the guy's clean. A big opportunity missed. Everything is, you can always fix things with more transparency, right? Do you remember a month ago, Elon did a certain arm movement, which people thought was, a Nazi movement. And although I think he's just very much on the spectrum, and I do not think that's what is the case, he's just he's probably, I don't want to say anything bad, but he's just kind of, he's like this. Some people thought that he was a Nazi. All that's irrelevant now. Like no one's referencing that. It just, these things lose. They lose. No one cares about it anymore. So I think Malay will be fine, to be perfectly honest. And I think he needs to come out and clear things up. Looks like this is translated, but yeah, he needs to clear things up, and you need to organize a little bit better if you're the president. But then again, look, Trump, he did his token, and then nothing's been done since, and it's been rubbish. Do I still think Bonk can go 10, 20, Pengu 50? Look, I mean, it's going to be harder now for Pengu to go to 50, but I still think it could be profitable and outperform like Dupe or whatever. But it would have a far smaller amount of my portfolio. I hate seeing people lose, and in the memes there are 9 losers and 1 winner. That is very much the case. Okay, and by the way, before you're referring to Luca Net's interview with Bankless, yeah, got that. Thanks. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, look, I said I'll just quickly see if there's any meteor opportunities. In general, like if the Bitcoin's not doing well, there's not a whole lot of hype around different things. It's probably not the best idea to go and do these sort of things on Solana because there's just too much crap that comes every day. I have shown you what I would do with Dupe, and I don't have a wallet on this portfolio. But just to show you again, Dupe Sol, Dupe USDC, go buy some Dupe if you want. You do not have to do this, but I'm doing this. Buy at the prices now, set it up for a bid ask. One second. Let's just give this a refresh. I want to buy Dupe now and sell it into a potential price movement to the upside, either in USDC or in Sol, and not 40%, but like this. You'll sell a little bit there, a little bit, and you'll get trading fees along the way, which I think is very, very nice. Another thing that you may want to do is jump into Sol and USDC with some USDC. Like you're not going to earn a lot in fees, that's for sure. You know, put in what you want to spend and bid ask, and as the price goes down lower, you buy more and more and more. There'll be fees along the way. As it gets down lower, then you'll withdraw it, and then you're going to put the Sol to sell higher. You could do that. Pretty easy way to make some fees. Now, in terms of actual opportunities out there, we can have a look at a couple of things. We can have a look at the meteor pools for like the last 2 hours of fees to see like what is being cooking. Probably we'll go with volume, and then we'll scroll down to see if there's anything that's like double digits, whatever. Duo and Sol, maybe. I'm not seeing much here with a whole lot of. That's not like the best kind of feature. We go to HawkFi. HawkFi will show us if things are doing well. Unicorn Fart Dust. If this is the right Unicorn Fart Dust, I don't think this would be, but this is not ending. Let's copy this and we'll go to GMGN. This is here. Okay, this is all right. This is clearly not it. That's not good. You need to check so many things in order to do this, in order to print some fees. It's not easy, is it? Popcat Sol. I don't think this is going to be the right Popcat, to be honest. Copy that. Go here. This is another 33-day-old. Okay, so these are all failures. There may not be any opportunities today that are decent. You may just want to stick in Sol and USDC and print less than 1%. Another option we can do is we can go to GMGN. We can have a look at trending, but we want to change things up a little bit. So we're on the Sol chart, on the Sol aspect, and a couple of features. So 1,000 market cap, liquidity. Oh, well, don't worry about that. Sorry, $1,000 market cap. We're going to have our age of like kind of at least 5,000 minutes, which I think is like how many hours? 5,000 min 2 hours. 83 hours. I don't think it needs to be that long, to be honest. I wish I could just put the number of hours, but let's just say, what is 24 hours to minutes? So just times by ticket. 24 hours to minutes. So I reckon if we go with like 700 minutes, that could be okay. We have a look at some new tokens. We want to see like a max market cap being like 50 million or maybe like 50 million. And then we need to turn on this degen audit and make sure they're burnt and top 10 and apply. And then we search by 1 hour volume. And if we've got something here that is more than $1 million, it could be worthwhile. Nothing here looks really good. PEP tends to go in a good range, goes up and down. So I kind of like to play with this one. It's been a good performer. So we can have a look at that one. We can have a look at Fun, which is just been kind of brought back to life. Duo, I exited, and because you don't want to be in these places for forever, right? And then you want to look and see like how much volume is it doing? Ideally, in an hour, like 600,000 or more. So not enough for me to play in. Fun, don't know what this is. A fake pump.fun token maybe. It's being spurred on. There would be some printing of fees to be done here, but only for a very short time, unless it is the right pump.fun token, which it wouldn't be. And Duo, not much here. So there's not a lot of DLMMing opportunities today right now. So I'm going to end it here. If there's any final questions, let me know. I'm definitely giving the benefit of the doubt to Meteor or Jupiter. I really don't think there's a risk that they're going to risk their multi-billion-dollar operation to go and snipe something like this. And we already know that other people are sniping it. Yeah, I would suggest watching the CoffeeZilla interview. Make up your own mind. Don't just watch clips. That's dangerous. And is grass still good for long-term holding, like staking? I'm not entirely sure. Haven't looked at it recently. I think, to be perfectly honest, if I'm really brutally honest, most of the time you are best off to sell primarily most of your airdrops within the first 24 to 48 hours, and then continue to farm and then to dump them with some sort of small moon bag. Has product market fit, but we'll have to wait and see how it all goes. All right, that's all from me. Thanks for tuning in. Maybe this made your mind a little bit more rested. I think Sol's going to be fine, but you know what to do. Buy low if you want to. Buy dupe now, sell it high if you want to. And just be mindful that snipering is a problem in all blockchains. Solana has the most amount of attention, fastest kind of blocks that are actively being used. And so it's going to be the biggest problem over here. And that's clearly the case. That's all. I'll just set a quick little outro, and we'll catch you in the next video. There'll be a daily debrief later on, and there'll be a video with my trading strategy with Katoshi out today as well. Whoa. Yeah.